Yes, all right. Another podcast. They just keep making the podcast equipment way too cheap and easy to access for us guys like us. So here we are, myself, Micmac, and I've got Elijah Wiese. We're going to pretty much just jump in and riff about the first and second rounds of the Australian Supercross that gone on just over the weekend. We've had to sort of wait for Elijah, who's been out in the outback driving 18, 24 hours back home to Adelaide. But he's made it back now. So yeah, man, how you going?
I'm tired, dude. I'm real tired. Far out. I'm sick of driving. I'm sick of being in a car. Overall, no, we're good. I'm stoked to be home. I say this every time I'm away. Like, dude, the more that I'm away, the more I miss Adelaide. Like, Adelaide's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude, we made it back. Made the journey there. I got the trip done in 2 days on the way up, which was a big stint. And then we kind of just cruised home in 3 days. And obviously with the racing in between and everything else, sort of, I'm pretty knackered, but glad to get through and glad to be home.
Yes. It's a massive drive that no one really gets it. Adelaide to Brisbane, like I used to do it, Melbourne to Brisbane, all that sort of stuff. It was an astronomical feat. Just to
Yeah,
get there in
dude,
2 days and then
dude.
back it up and ride. So yeah, how was your time, mate? How'd you pull up?
No, I put up fine. I'm good. Like as in body wise, I think mentally just drained. Like you said, it is a pretty big effort driving for 2 days and then racing for 2 days and then basically just getting straight back in the car and going. So mentally pretty drained, but overall, like I'm stoked with the weekend and the way it went. I wasn't expecting great things. I've had 3 or 4 days on a Supercross track leading into the series, so I wasn't expecting much. And pretty much the only goal was just to get out safe, get through with no crashes. Last year was a horrible year with just cartwheeling my brains out every round. So this year we just wanted to start slow and I achieved that and I got better every time I was on the track and just made small improvements every time on track. So I can't complain too much. You know what we're like though. We always want more and a little bit better every time. But it was fun, dude. I enjoyed it. Like I just had fun and
Yeah.
I'm keen, ready to go for round two. It's got the bug in me back already. Like we've only just started and haven't raced all year, and now I'm like keen to go again. So overall, it was good. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. And first hit out on the new bike as well, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. Like a lot of people don't know I've been on Yamahas for nearly 10 years. So, not only did I have 4 days on a Supercross track, that's also 4 days on a new bike. Um, but yeah, that aside, dude, like honestly, the bike was sweet. I just need to not ride around like trying not to crash. I just need to ride and actually just ride like normal. So, but we'll figure it out. Like I said, we'll build slowly and yeah, just go from here. At least we've got a starting point now.
And that's always the thing, like, you get out on your practice track and you're feeling comfortable and you're feeling safe and you know your lines, you know your marks, and you know what you need to do. You get to an event and it all sort of falls away a little bit, and you just gotta keep telling
Yeah.
yourself, "Go back to what you know, go back to what you know," but it's harder than what it is, eh?
Dude, that's exactly right. Like the practice track I ride at, like it's honestly such a sick track. Shout out to the Smart family. They've got like the sickest Supercross track, but like because we ride it so much, well, I've ridden it before. You can ride it basically with your eyes closed, and sort of nothing catches you off guard. And then you roll up on Saturday, and the track's like ripped like a motocross track, and ruts going everywhere. And it's like you kind of take a step back, and you go back into your shell, and so yeah, it's just figuring that out again and being back in the scene and adjusting on the fly and, being comfortable with a bit more bike time, I think will help. But yeah, all those things, dude, it's those things that you kind of forget about, you don't realize, and then it springs up at round one and everyone's then chasing their tail again.
Yeah. So that leads us into round one. Let's get into that as well. Like, I think that was a perfect little segue, like, into the track, sort of thing. I wasn't there. You obviously rode it. I wasn't there, but watching it on TV, man, by the end of night one, she looked baked in. So how was it, like, even just getting out there those first few laps? What was it like? Was it good to start with, and then it just baked down?
Yeah, dude, honestly, like when we walked the track Saturday morning, I hadn't really seen anything like it. Everyone was kind of looking around, scratching their heads, like thinking, "What do we got going on here?" So I think it was a bit of a combination with obviously the weather, obviously being so hot and dry up there,
Yeah.
and then bringing in the dirt dry. What they did was they left the track open, so they left it like pretty much just dozer tracked in, so it was open, ripped, really soft. Like when we were walking the track, you could see footprints like sinking into the dirt. So, um, I remember like walking the track and I saw Yuriv Konski, and Yuriv just looks at me and he goes, "This can't be right," and had a bit of a chuckle. But obviously they were doing that to try and get moisture into it, right? So
Yeah.
Early Saturday, like I was 450 practice, so we were like last on track, and it was like gnarly, like ruts up faces,
Yeah.
and just peg deep ruts in all the rhythms, which I think probably wasn't the best start for everyone. Going from not racing Supercross all year to straight into that was a bit of an eye opener. So it started off pretty rough, and then as the night went on Saturday, like the boys obviously worked in the track all night, and it got better and better. Like the dirt firmed up a bit and sort of stayed fairly solid for the nighttime program on Saturday. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could see the dirt had a tendency to go really hard, and I guess that's why they left it open, because they must have known it was going
Yeah.
to go super baked out. So
Yeah.
yeah, Saturday was a little bit touch and go for like during the day and stuff, and then sort of towards the end of the night show you could see like sort of everyone was kind of like, oh, okay, Sunday may be a pretty different style track, and it did turn out like that. So I guess they did what they could do, and they did the best they could do, and it's just weird soil, just really, yeah, really
Yeah.
weird dirt.
And did Sunday work out a little bit better too? Because it was a little bit more an earlier program and not that, that moisture coming down in the late night on the Saturday and it gets a little bit slipperier and stuff like that. Did that work out a little bit better or not really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the track was definitely, you could see from the morning and Sunday from qualifying, like straight away, the track was so much faster because it
Yeah.
did go hard straight
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
rather than just like rutting out.
Yeah.
But then obviously, if you've got the track going super hard in the morning, then it's going to be pretty baked in the Arvo. So I preferred it on Sunday. I think most guys probably did. It was maybe a little more raceable just because you could move around a little bit more rather than
Yeah.
getting stuck in your ruts. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's tricky. I think limited time doesn't help these guys to build a track in
No.
2 days. It's
Man,
never
that
easy.
was that bump in Thursday? Thursday?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think Wednesday they started bringing dirt in, so they
Yeah.
basically had Wednesday midday to Friday to build a track, and
Crazy.
and that never
Crazy.
works. Like it never
Yeah.
works, and the track's always going to end up blown out or sketchy or whatever
Yeah.
when that sort of happens. Yeah,
Yeah, no, those boys do a bloody banger job, that whole crew. Yeah, with the time frame that they have to work in with some of the stuff
yeah,
that I've seen them do, and yeah, hats off to those guys. And yeah, this isn't a dig at them on the track or anything like that. It's just how
no,
the track turned out. This is talking about how the track turned out. But
yeah.
man, they get put up against some time frames which is just almost unhuman, eh? Like,
Yeah, and also too, like it's different soil for them every year. I feel
yeah,
like like you get the guys in the States that have stockpiles of dirt, so the guys
yeah,
know what the dirt is. They know
yeah.
how to work it. But here, it's like they're guessing until they get it in. So that can't be easy.
Where'd this come from this week, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, literally. It's like, what do we got this time? We've either got like road-based rocks or red clay or, whatever. So yeah,
Yeah,
I can't imagine the stress that Josh and, the whole Pro Tracks crew would be under. But
yeah,
yeah, to their credit, they did an awesome job, and
yeah.
they got through, and the track build itself, like the actual layout and the whoops and everything was actually pretty sweet for a first
Yeah,
round.
no, it looked
So
good.
yeah,
Looked like a good raceable track. Everyone looked like everyone was doing the jumping the jumps, doing the same things. There was a couple of little rhythms there. That back rhythm lane, there was a
yeah,
little bit of a faster option, and a couple of guys had it. But it looked safe. It looked like a good first round track, and no complaints at all. It's just, yeah, she
yeah.
looks slippery. She
Yeah,
looks slippery.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was really weird, like the dirt itself. So, I mean, a little bit Sunday as well, but even Saturday, like even the firms, it looked like so tacky.
yeah,
And you would come in and you'd want to do like a brake slide turn, but it was like grippy at the start, so you couldn't get it to slide. But then you'd get on the gas and it would just crack open and slide. It was like It was pretty hard to read, that's for sure. But I guess it makes for technical racing.
Yeah. It definitely looked like it actually did on the TV. Like it made for guys actually had to race each other and also race the track.
Yeah,
There was bits going on everywhere. So they were, yeah, it was throwing a spanner in the works from every which way. So yeah, that was
yeah,
no, that was really good racing on the Saturday night. Yeah, like I said, I got to watch it from the comfort of my own home.
yeah.
And check it out, it was awesome to see on TV again. And it looked like a really good crowd. It's awesome crowd on Saturday on hand.
Yeah, Saturday was huge again. I think that was kind of to be expected. Saturday's always a bigger
Yeah.
day. Even last year it was. Sunday was pretty light on. I guess that's the downside of having a back to back double header. Is
Yep.
Sundays you're going to probably always struggle with the crowd, but the crowd that was there on Sunday seemed to be pretty engaged. And sort of we're into it. But yeah, I guess that's the downside of the doubleheader is the smaller crowd on Sunday. But Saturday was sweet. It felt a little less busy than last year on the Saturday.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like people in the pits and people around, it felt a little less busy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen final numbers or anything. But yeah,
Yeah, and there has been a bit going on lately. Obviously not even just in the sport of motocross, like even just living in general. It's like to find an extra few $100 to go to the Supercross is, it
yeah,
might be out of the question for some people like that. Some people might have been, it was Bathurst weekend. There's all that sort of stuff going on, and the guys have to secure the dates when they can, and that's the
yeah,
cards that they're dealt sometimes.
yeah,
But man, it's been a busy week or a busy few month or a month for, sport in general, grand finals, AFL, NRL, all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
And that's just part of the parcel, and that it can sometimes come down to it. Life outside of motorsports is going to
yeah,
catch up, and that's going to happen, eh? So, but yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
actually on TV. On TV, it looked like a decent crowd and a good turnout, which is good for Australian Supercross, that's for sure. So, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think they've I think it's cool that we got like stadiums like every year or as in regular locations because that kind of
yeah,
it builds the sport or it builds racing in that area so you do get your repeat customers, you know what I mean, you do get
yes,
your people coming
yeah,
back, and I think that's why it's cool having the regular stadiums.
yeah. People
So I,
become
I don't
accustomed to that race
yeah,
coming back. It's hard to throw in Adelaide Supercross once every 5 years. People in
yeah,
Adelaide love Supercross, but it's when's it coming back? We
yeah,
want it back every year,
yeah, yeah,
and for, Queensland, for instance, or Southeast Queensland, it's where are they going to have it this year? Like if they can find a home base for it in Redcliffe,
yeah,
that's cool because people are going to become accustomed to it then, eh? And the same time of
yeah.
year
Well,
too.
yeah, exactly right. Like if it is in Redcliffe next year or not, like I don't know, but
Yeah,
somewhere in that area, it would be cool, because
yeah,
like it does build that every year sort of opening round. That's where it
yeah,
is. Everyone's kind of knows the deal, and then you sort of flow on from there. The second round, or sorry, the third round's in Sydney, which is not far from Wollongong, which was
yeah,
at last year. So it's sort of similar areas. So you get the same crowd, the same people coming back every year. And then
yeah.
you obviously, you get new people coming still as well. Like I think this year I had more people come up to me that were new fans or new
Oh,
people to
cool.
the sport like this year.
Yeah,
So which was really cool. Like in the pits, there was heaps of people coming up saying, "Oh, this is our first Supercross," like,
that's
which
cool.
that's what you want, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, so that was cool, like, even on Sunday. So maybe the crowd was light, but it seemed to be a lot of new faces and new people, which is awesome.
That's cool. And yeah, like new people to the sport, that's what it is about. So if they've, drawn that in through using a Reese Walsh or someone like that, which from
Yeah,
someone within the sport turns around and goes, "Oh, why are you doing that?" They're looking to get those people, those everyday Brisbane people that will
yeah,
resonate with a Reese Walsh or a personality like that. I seen they just brought on Corey Parker for as an ambassador for the WSX. Winner. Like, it's
yeah,
gonna bring in the people that don't know about the sport, but know a name like a Reese Walsh or a Corey Parker, bringing them into the
yeah,
stadium. They're not there to see, a Deegan or a, Lawrence or someone like that. They're there because
yeah,
that
yeah,
person said, "This sport's cool. Come and see it. I love it." So, yeah,
yeah,
hats off to them if that's worked. That's sick.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's what they need to do, right? So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. Like Sydney is another. I think it's in another rugby stadium. I could be wrong. Rugby, I'm not sure. It's the wrong sport for me here in South Australia, so could be wrong. But I think they've probably got an ambassador or something there. They did last year. They had the UFC guy, so who knows who they got this year.
You're from Adelaide, mate. You got two football teams. You got that's hilarious. It's just not my thing at all.
It's the
Yeah,
wrong. It's the
Sharks.
wrong sport. But even Aussie rules footy or like that is footy to me. Everyone says footy up there, but they're talking about rugby. I got no idea
Right.
what's going on. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that was too good. It's Shark Stadium, by the way, where you're going to.
Dark Stadium.
Put
Yeah.
that in the
So
GPS when you leave next
yeah,
week so you
for
can
all
make it
I
there.
know, yeah, for all I know, Shark Stadium could be like a netball stadium. I don't even know where. So
Dude,
we're going.
that was too good. Yeah, before we move on to also results, we haven't really talked about results from the Brisbane round, but rider turnout as well is something I wanted to ask you about. Obviously, you're the privateer guy. Rider turnout, 450 class looked a little bit on the light side, but better than what it has
Yeah.
been, and the lights class looked pretty good. And SX3, obviously, you're always going to get the guys there, but how was it at the track? Was it good?
Um,
Was it?
I mean, I really would have loved those 2 extra gates and made it a 20 rider main event because I would have got in. But
Yeah, dude.
yeah, nah, the 450 class it's been on about that level for the last sort of 3 years. I think like
Yeah,
similar. You get some guys come in, some guys come out, whatnot.
yeah,
I think this year is probably they've got the most factory riders, or
yeah,
this year they've got definitely the most factory riders they've ever had. And then
yeah,
there's been a few privateer guys drop off and whatnot. But I think the 450 class is pretty similar to last year.
yeah,
250 class is better. Same again. There's more factory riders. And then the SX3 class is always stacked, and the 85
yeah.
class will fall as well. So I think overall, like it's kind of plateaued, or it hasn't dropped the last couple of years, which is good. It's plateaued a little bit, maybe slightly risen. And yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but yeah, like I think overall the quality of riders is better this year than it has been in previous years.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty not stacked, but like all the way
But
through that
yeah,
450 field
yeah,
look pretty decent other than, you get that top, 8, maybe 10 guys, whereas
yeah,
now it's like, top 14 to it was nearly everyone in there's, a decent
yeah,
450 rider, which is good.
yeah. Well,
So,
I think there's roughly like 7 or something factory 450s out
factory
there,
guys.
or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the most it's been for a long time.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And then you've got the guys that probably could be on factory rides that are mixing it up and getting podiums and stuff like that. So yeah, there's obviously you get your Dean Wilsons or your American guys that sometimes separate a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's pretty natural. But I think the way that the track was built, obviously, it helps us Australian riders in that
Yeah.
aspect is make it more competitive for us. And you saw bar Dean Wilson, you saw Aussies mix it up with all the American guys,
Yeah.
and be on pace if not better. So yeah, so that was cool to see as well.
Yeah, no, that was it. And yeah, that brings us pretty much into the results as well. So that was perfect, man. So yeah, like SX1 top 5, obviously, yeah, Dean Wilson and Cedric Suberas from France on the first
Dudes.
night, Luke Clout, Tanny Melross. So, the 2 internationals, then 3 Aussies. So, you
Yeah,
know, and it was good racing too. Like it wasn't as if those 2 like Dino got out front and ran away, but
yeah.
the Aussie guys held in there, I felt. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, obviously Dino going 1-1 on the first night sounds more dominant than it probably was. He did it the hard way, like, he went off track a couple times in the
yeah.
first one, had to come from way back and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and Cloudy's fast as always, and a few mistakes then
Yeah.
probably cost him being, even closer and stuff like that. So, I think, like, obviously everyone expected Dino to probably come and win and do what he did.
Yeah.
Subs was a surprise for me. Well, not a surprise, but like with how solid he was, and it's a fairly
Yeah.
new bike for him. I think that was
Yeah. No, he
like pretty good.
jumped on that. Was that the first time on the CR for him?
Yeah, first race. I think
Yeah.
he's had maybe a week or so on it, or
Yeah.
maybe 2
Yeah.
weeks max.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's been a Cowie rider for years. So,
Cowie. Yeah.
yeah, so he adapted pretty well, and he got
Yep.
better as the night went on and as the day went on. So, yeah, I think he's someone that could be a sneaky contender for wins as well.
Yeah, definitely. As the series goes on and gets a little bit more bike time underneath of him,
Yeah,
yeah, that's all it comes down to. And different country, different food, different atmosphere, all that sort of stuff takes a little bit to get acclimatized to. And Dean's someone that's been here. What's the last been 3-4 years for Dean on the trot,
yeah,
really, hasn't it? So he
yeah,
knows his way
yeah,
around, and he knows the team, and he's pretty much acclimated as soon as he steps off that airplane. Someone like Cedric Subaras is going to struggle that first little bit, but he'll pick
yeah.
it up. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he will, and yeah, it's just a thing of Dino knows the tracks. He knows how they form up. He knows how the Aussie
yeah,
riders race, and so he knows all that. So it's just
yeah,
another day for him. But
yeah,
yeah, Subs was good. It was cool to see. He's got
yeah.
mad style. Like I love his style, and
He does, eh? Slick
seems like a
style.
pretty chill dude. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, Cloudy, had
yeah.
speed, qualified fastest, just some
Eh,
mistakes and crashes and rushing things a little bit, being pretty keen to show the boys that he's the man. And yeah,
that
he's fast, but he makes it hard for himself.
made it for interesting TV when he ran it up the inside of Phil on that
Yeah.
first race, and you're like,
Yeah.
man, that was a bad idea. That was a
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
idea,
Straight away. First heat race, throws it up the inside of the angriest bloke in moto.
right?
And
You're just like,
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I don't know if that was, I don't know if it was the best idea, but you done it. Well
Nah,
done.
nah,
So,
interesting strategy. But I mean, you do like in Luke's defense, you look at the video, he does tuck the front more
oh,
than sort of take him out. So,
yeah, it was,
in the moment, it's heated, but
yeah.
yeah.
If you've seen it and you're like, oh, that was a full on takeout, but I was watching it and I'm like, oh, what happened there? I need to see a replay. There was not much in it, but just to
Nah.
happen to that guy, and oh man, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. And yeah, seen the aftermath videos, and it was it was a bit of fun to
Yeah.
follow. So,
Yeah. Well, look, it's probably the only time I'll ever pass Luke Clout and Phil Nicoletti in one corner. So,
yeah, no, and you killed it. You did so good.
yeah. Yeah, got the old 2-for-1 deal. Thank you very much. And
The
yeah, they
twofer.
came back past me the next straight.
Coming through, look out, and back
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
That's all part of it too. Like, at the end of the day, man, like, for yourself in against those guys, and you're in the same race, that sort of stuff happens. So you're gonna
Mm.
take it, and if that if that's your ticket to the main event, you're taking it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It was
thanks,
funny.
Cloudy.
Yeah, thanks, Cloudy. It was funny. I lined up next to Phil in the LCQ,
Yeah,
and obviously, like, there was no chance I was going to beat him, but I was having a laugh with him and
yeah,
telling him
good.
that the number 82 Cowie was going to whole shot his piece of junk Yamaha and,
Yeah,
things like that, and having a bit of
sick.
a laugh. But yeah, it was cool to line up next to the guy before he fully
Yeah.
retires, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those bucket list tick off
Yeah,
the bucket list,
yeah,
and yeah, away you go. So no, that was a good first 450 night, I think, to get it out the way. There was no real surprises other than for me, was old Melross getting in there in the
yeah,
in the top five after the
yeah,
two motos. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, and he's doing it. And you can attest to this privateer deal. He's doing it on his own, and yeah, it's a cool story, I think. So
yeah. No, Melrose, I mean, obviously everyone knows he's been in championship fights before in the SX2 class. Like, he's got so much experience. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, it's cool to see he's had a few healthy years and kind of back to probably where he, should have been for a long time. And I'm sure he might be getting some calls for next year. After that result, I said it was funny. Obviously, watching the main event, and Melrose was up there, and I said Melrose is putting himself in on under a factory rig right now, like for next year. So yeah,
and if it's one of those seats that might go to an international guy, but if you've got a Hayden Melross there, why not? Like, it's
yeah,
he's in your backyard. He's someone that has been there before. He knows the ins and outs of Supercross racing and pro Supercross racing. So,
Mm.
yeah, he's an easy pickup, and yeah, hats off to him for grabbing the grabbing the bat and the ball and going to play. And
Yeah.
the privateer special comes up with a top 5 on night one, and I think opened a few eyes that thought, hey, what's this old guy? Oh, no, he's not old, but he's been around a while. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's really cool to see and beat some of those guys that a few people might have thought, yeah, they're going to go out and win almost. So
Yeah. And it was kind of a strange night for results, as in, like, some people that you probably expected to be up there weren't, and then a few guys like the priorities, like Melrose, were solid in the mix. It seemed like it was just a bit of strange stuff going on. So,
yeah,
and first round is always like that. There's always results going everywhere, and people crashing or inconsistent or whatnot. So yeah, for him to do that and just be pretty rock solid there, top 5 on the first night, worked out well. And
yeah,
yeah, like even Tanny, Tanny was way back in the first one, and then
yeah,
came through with a solid second one. So
yeah.
just all over the shop, first round jitters, I guess.
Yeah, and came out good enough still for fourth on the first night.
Yeah.
SX2 class. Oh, before we even touch on the SX2 class, anyone else in the 450 class that sort of, you were there? So was there anyone else that we sort of missed that you sort of seen that actually, did really good?
Obviously, like the factory boys, I guess that's what they're paid to do, is to, put
Yeah,
in results. But I think another privateer was Luke Zielinski, who, like,
yeah, I seen
was
his name. Yeah,
solid. Yeah, like, good heat race, was battling for podium in the heat race, and then
yeah,
in the mains was like putting moves on factory dudes late in the mains, like
yeah,
proper
cool.
proper good riding. It wasn't like a fluke. He did it like every time on track. He was on pace. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sick.
that was cool to see. Yeah, it was cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, SX2 class. Yeah, night one. Lux Turner, obviously an import. Larwood, um, Todd, Ferguson, and Cosford. So yeah, Wilson Todd. Sorry, because yeah, you can get them mixed up. But
Yeah.
yeah, old Willie coming in for third. And yeah, Larwood. He's a local boy over your way, and yeah,
Yeah.
some cool to see getting on the box there. So
Yeah. Nah, I mean, obviously Lux, like I said, being the import, being the guy getting paid to come over, is a bit of pressure on him to do well, and he did.
yeah,
I've never seen, obviously, Lux ride before, and he
yeah,
rides very mature. He rides very in control. Like, nothing was ever sort of panicked or in a rush. So
yeah,
that was cool to see. And then yeah, Larwood, like you said, I've known Larwood since he was 12 years old. I've watched him grow up ride. I used to ride Supercross with him back here. And I think for him, it's another thing of just he's had consistent, healthy years. And
yeah,
he's finally getting to a point where he probably could have been years ago if it wasn't for the injuries. So,
yeah.
yeah. And Alex gets starts, man. He rips off the line. So
Good starts.
that's
Yeah.
obviously going to help him. And yeah, stoked for him, but it wasn't without a bit of drama with his teammate there with Wilson Todd.
What
Far
was
out.
that? I've seen that.
Yeah, the first main. Todd put a move on him on the last corner,
Yeah.
like just before the finish line, and it wasn't like a dirty pass, but like Todd paused, held him up, they clipped wheels, whatever. Todd got the position, and then I guess Alex was pretty fired up about it, and
Yeah.
tried to kick his rear wheel after the
I've
finish
seen
line and whatnot, and
what
gave him something. I don't know. It looked kind of funny, but yeah, it's a bit of Redcliffe beef with the Honda team. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, the only thing that like you couldn't see on the camera angle was, did Willie maybe, cut that inside? Because like Alex went, mid to wide, and it was like Wilson like just went. It was like he cut the like Alex thought he cut the corner or something like that, but he didn't, and
Nah,
got the pass made, and it didn't look too dirty. It was just that
nah,
you got the
nah.
pass made, and you were pissed off, and
Yeah.
went
I think
for
I think that was probably
the
like,
drop kick.
yeah, I think it was probably Alex was probably more frustrated himself
Yeah,
for
yeah.
letting that happen. Then he just took it out on the closest dude, and the pass was so slow pace, so slow speed, like it
It
wasn't a
was walking
dirty
pace.
pass. Yeah, yeah. Like, obviously Wilson's cut across 5 ruts to get there, but it's the last corner of the last lap. Like, you're gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're gonna take out your mother for that place for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it gave Oz MX memes a bit of a video to chuck in there as well.
yeah,
So that was a good
yeah,
that was a good watch, that's for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, no real standouts. Obviously, you're gonna think that the Lux Turner, the American import, is gonna come in and do that sort of thing and keep these boys on their toes. But yeah, Wilson Todd to jump up on the podium. Yeah, he rode the 450 outdoors, jumping back to the 250 for the Supercross. Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise for me. But yeah, other than that, the results seem like where they should be, where those boys should stack up, right?
Mm. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, not really any surprises. The only surprise was McElrath having an absolute
Oh yeah,
stinker. Like, just
yeah,
like it wasn't even Shane riding the bike. It was like they grabbed someone from the crowd and put it on the bike. Like,
yeah.
just well, that was probably a bit of a stretch, probably wasn't that bad. But like, you know what I mean? He's the champ, like, and he just was nowhere.
Well, you're not far off because yeah, even like we haven't got to it yet, but night two, he's not in the top five again.
Mm,
That's actually insane that you brought that up. Was
yeah,
something that I had in our later notes, but it was yeah, that's one that's a standout, and something that goes back to possibly riding the 450 all year, dropping back could be an
yeah.
issue. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's an underrated difficult skill to do is go from 450 to 250, right? Like
oh, big time.
it's probably the other way. 250, 450 is probably not as bad, but 450
Yeah,
back to 250
yeah,
is a struggle. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
yeah, I guess a bit of that, but you would think someone with Shane's experience and being on it last year for quite a bit of time, it wouldn't have been such an issue, but
for
he
sure.
couldn't get
Yeah,
yeah, he couldn't get off the line and he got, stuck in the carnage, and so that
yeah.
didn't help him, and yeah, probably just a combination of things, and also too, like, he's not doing the whole series, so was he in it mentally? Like, you just never know.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just come over, show up,
Yeah.
get in, get out
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, yeah, on that note, that's pretty much leads us into night two. So, which is probably the hardest part is to, go out there night one, but then also come back around and back it up the next day, same track. And it's going to be a hot one. It's going to
Yeah.
be baked in and it's all going to happen again. So, explain that a little bit from a rider's point of view. Night one, you're over and done with, home to bed, back up the next morning relatively early and then back out there. So, physically and mentally, what's that like, man? Like, honestly.
Well, I think, to be honest, like, Saturday was the stupidest, longest schedule I've ever experienced. Like,
Okay.
I don't know why that we were there. I was there, no, like, I was there from 7:30 AM till, like, whatever it was, 10:30 PM.
No
Yeah,
way,
like, the longest day. I don't know why that it was so stretched out, and it was just
man.
crazy. So, not only that, like, I was knackered from that, but it's a little bit different for the factory boys, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I think riding wise, I actually and other people might be different, but I actually ride better on the second day. I feel like I've
Yeah.
had a day to, like, work into it and build
You had a
up,
press day.
yeah, and then the next day I actually rode better from the gate. So that's for
Yeah.
myself.
Cool.
I don't know if everyone's like that, but you
Yeah.
could see that definitely. Obviously, the track was faster, but you could see everyone pushing the pace earlier
Yeah.
because they knew the track, they knew
They knew the
how the
track.
layout.
Yeah. They were,
Yeah,
they were in
the
from the start,
section.
ripping.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the schedule on Saturday obviously was pretty gnarly, and then I was pretty tired on Sunday, but um, yeah, it was. I mean, is what it is. I can't really do much about it, but I think we need to look at maybe not, if there is going to be a double header again, maybe not having Saturday be so long, and
So
drawn
drawn
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's whatever.
And that weather up here at the moment's a little bit crispier than
Ugh,
down south right now. So you probably
yeah,
got thrown right into the deep end with a bit of heat
yeah,
and
yeah.
humidity going on. So
Oh man, I was sweating. Like, I came in from I was qualifying on Sunday. I came in and, like, I was, like, overheating bad. I was cooking and I was like,
yeah, we
couldn't
are.
get my gear off quick enough, and I was like trying to take my helmet off, trying to take my gear off. My missus is there, like, trying to help, and I'm like all angry and, like, throwing things and, like, just trying to cool down. Like, it was a shock. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the heat definitely got me, but
Yeah.
yeah, luckily it was shorter races, which probably helped.
Yeah, just did a bit shorter program and got
Yeah.
through it, man. So yeah, that's a tough one, especially straight off the rip, rounds 1 and 2, and you're going back to back. So for everyone that doesn't live and breathe the sport and or ride all the time like that, that's gnarly to me. Like, and even just Supercross like that, you know, jumping and landing off jumps and whoops and all the rest of it, the physical demand that Supercross is on your body, and man, like to back it up, that's
Mhm.
pretty nuts to me. Like it
Yeah.
was, yeah, yeah, hats off to you guys for getting back out there and ripping again. So, yeah, not much not much difference in the results wise. Like honestly, man, like Wilson, Subs, and then just the big standout really in that 450 class is that you had Melross step onto the box, and then Tanny and Clout. It was just a switch around in those top fives, and then yeah, pretty much the same again in the SX2 class. Turner, Larwood, but then you had young Jake Cannon jump up on there onto the box, and then yeah, Ferguson and old Reese Budd stepping up as well into the top five. But yeah, just touch on that as well. It was pretty cool, Melross getting that third. And again, like we'll go back to it and I'll keep harping on it. Like that privateer effort ain't no joke. And to be standing up on a Supercross podium, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, yep, like we obviously mentioned, he's just slowly built back to probably where he could have been if it wasn't for a
Yeah.
few injuries. And I know what his injuries were like because I was kind of involved in the first one.
Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time. Just we come together on a section a few years back, and
Yeah.
he kind of had a string of injuries after that. So
Yeah.
you know, having that sort of long out of it, and then being able to come back and be that competitive, I think is the most impressive thing. It's
Yeah.
it's one thing to come back and maybe get some top tens or whatever, maybe a top five here and there, but to come back after, say 3 years, right, of struggles and issues to then
Yeah.
be on a podium, like you could obviously see how much it meant to him, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
he was stoked, and so he should be. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty cool to see.
And someone in the 450 class having their kid up on the podium, not the 250
Yeah.
class like we see
Yeah,
in
yeah,
America. Some of these
yeah,
older guys
yeah,
in the 250 class, but someone on the
yeah,
450
yeah,
podium with having been able to have their kid up on the podium, and as a father,
yeah, yeah,
that'd be pretty epic to have a young
yeah,
fella have your family experience that.
yeah, yeah. I
Be
think I
sick.
think that's
So,
actually I think you mentioned that's probably the thing that Australia does the best is our SX2 riders are SX2
yes.
riders. They're
Yeah.
not 30-year-old riders dropping down to the 250 class. Apart from Wilson Todd a little bit, that one's a bit
Yeah.
questionable. But
No.
everyone else is 250 riders, and then the 450 guys are 450 guys. I think that's really
Yeah.
good. Like, yeah, I
No,
think that gets
it's you're
overlooked a bit.
actually. Yeah, very valid point there, man, and it's something that I think a lot of people might not even pick up on until you sit down and look through the riders list. But you go, yep, that's a good young
Yeah,
crew of SX2
yeah,
riders and a experienced crew in the open class, and I
yeah,
think we've got the split right on that sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, America is such bigger field, and there just ain't enough rides in that 450 class, and you got to make money somehow. So it is
yeah,
what it is, but yeah, to see these younger kids come through and as I pointed out, third on the box there on that second night,
mm,
young Jake Cannon, and that's cool. So
yeah,
he can get his feet wet in the Supercross. He can ride against a guy like a Lux Turner. He can show his promise. He's got his ride in Europe and all that sort of stuff secured. But as a Supercross guy, he's still got the talents there too to be able to do that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's a big win in my book, that you can actually still show your class in a
yeah.
field that you should be against. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly right. Like, Jake, he's only maybe freshly 18, 17, 18.
Yeah, I
So,
think so.
he's
18.
a young,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a young kid, and stepping into that SX2 class with not having any Supercross all year. Obviously, he's been doing the MX stuff, and they're all motocross
Yeah.
over there. And he flies over, has 2, 3 days on the bike, and then, jumps in
Yeah.
and does that. Like, that's awesome to see, and shout out to another local guy. You may have heard of him, Brett Metcalf. You may have heard of him.
May have.
You know, yeah, with his whole team set up, like that was so cool to see. And you know,
Yeah.
Brett was just as stoked as I think Jake
Yeah, I
was.
bet.
The
Yeah.
whole team, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, and yeah, Medi, I seen he was on. He was part of Brett's team, that Go 24 Kawasaki team, and I guess it would have been brought parts and bits and pieces back from his Cowie team, and jumped straight onto that bike, which is a perfect fit. And
Yeah,
you know, Medi, a massive supporter of obviously Australian motocross in general. He would have been all about that sort of stuff, and seeing
yeah,
someone get their first podium, he would have
yeah.
been pretty well stoked on that. So
Yeah. No, it was cool. Like obviously I, I know I know Scotty Watts who's the mechanic for that team, does a lot for that
sure,
team. So I knew obviously firsthand that that bike was pretty much built here by Scotty. The
yeah,
suspension was sent from Bud. But pretty much
yeah,
everything else was built here in Oz from by Scotty Watts. So to see a
yeah, cool.
Australian built local guy building a team Kawasaki bike get up on the podium. I think Scotty was stoked and everyone else was stoked to see that too.
I
So
bet.
yeah, just that
Yeah.
small group that they have are doing pretty cool things.
But that's what it should be in that lights class too. There should be a guy out of the back of a van, show up and be able to jump onto a podium. And that's Australian Supercross. That's
Mm.
what I grew up through. You know, there's a guy in a high A somewhere, he's going to come out and get second or third at some stage. You know, you just didn't
Yeah,
know when. But that's cool that that is still a possibility. You know, a smaller base team, they're not in a high S or anything like that, but they are a smaller
yeah,
base team, and
yeah.
just a tight knit crew. And I bet everyone would have been stoked for that podium. That's for sure. Eh? So
Yeah, yeah. No, it was cool to see. So, but yeah, no, as night two goes, like it was, similar results. But I think one thing we probably do have to mention before we move on is Dean Wilson. What a legend for
yeah,
doing
that was
what
next
what
on my
he
list,
did.
man.
You know?
That's yeah,
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 yeah. Like
yeah.
to do
What
that
was
and
the yeah, the vibe there on the day in the morning and all that sort of stuff? That news going around, was it just nuts to see him pull that off, or what?
well, like to be honest, like I think we all sort of knew something was happening Saturday night. He touched on it a little
Yeah,
bit press day and then Saturday night again and then obviously Sunday, he gets the win and gets on the podium or gets the interview and drops the news and I'm sure his
yeah,
inner circle would have known what was going on, but as far as the pits
yeah.
goes, no one knew exactly, which I think is the right thing. That
No,
so yeah, to then him get up there and do that, and everyone sort of was just like, well, I was in the crowd and everyone was looking around like, you got to be kidding me. So
no,
yeah, obviously thoughts and prayers with Dino, but what he did, man, is I think that's probably going to be pretty underrated. Like that's probably one of the hardest things you'd have to do in
man.
ever, and to do that's just oh,
Motocross's mentality is, I don't know, man. Sometimes some of us are just built different. You know, I don't know what it is. It's just like sometimes you can just push it all aside, and you get out on that bike and you know what it's like. It all just blows away and floats away, and you're
mm,
like, this is it, this is your happy place, and you're in it, and you
yeah,
forget about all of it, that sort of
mm,
stuff. And the heaviest of heavy, that that news that Dean Wilson had to deal with
yeah,
is almost gone as soon as you get on the track, because you're in
yeah,
that place where nothing can touch you and you're on your own, and you forget about it all because you're just that locked in and that zoned in. And man, motocross mentality sometimes can just freaking do some crazy stuff. Like you can pull it
yeah,
out, eh?
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah, once he said that, like, yeah, I was pretty gobsmacked that he could go out and do that, and,
yeah,
obviously just shows him, how mentally strong he is or can be when it comes
yeah,
down to it, and, it's gonna be he obviously is the favorite, but to win on a night like that, it's gonna be pretty hard to not or to beat someone that is like, that mentally strong, and yeah, it was
yeah.
crazy.
No, for sure, man. Yeah, not to sort of move too quickly on from that, but yeah, how was your night? How was your weekend? Like, it's pretty hectic, man. Like, just talk about that a little bit. It was, the drive to get there and then to put in 2 days of racing and stuff like that. Like, just give us a bit of that story, man. Like, that's another one, like we were just talking about the mentality of it all. It's
Yeah.
she's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, well, like 2 weeks ago, I wasn't racing. So,
Yeah,
I sort of decided I had a crash 6 weeks ago maybe on a motocross track and,
yeah,
hurt my tailbone, like my coccyx bone, like real bad. So I was kinda like
yeah,
I was done, I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna do it, not gonna race," and then got to a point where I could just ride, and I went and had some laps on a Supercross track and then sort of made my mind up 2 weeks before the first round. So, everything else, there was kinda everything was last minute, to get ready, to get organized and, got there, and I think that's why the 2-day program I actually enjoy because the first day I'm literally getting all the soreness of driving and the lactic acid built up of driving out of my system and my legs were heavy on the
yeah,
first night, and then Sunday, I actually feel like human again and can move and and stuff, so, um, yeah, look, like I said earlier, I wasn't expecting much, obviously, with that lead up and the injury coming in, I didn't expect much, I wasn't
yeah,
going in there, like, expecting a top 15 or whatever, and, my goal was to get through safe and healthy and just, have some fun on my bike. And I achieved those two things
yeah,
and gives me somewhere to, I guess, somewhere to, start from now. And we just build from here. So, yeah, I would have, I just missed the main event on Sunday, which was a bit of a bummer because
yep.
I was in fourth with 2 laps to go in the LCQ and then just hit a wall, like literally just physically hit a wall,
Literally,
couldn't
we're
hold
done.
on, went backwards. So, like it's one of those things like you're a racer and I'm a racer and yeah, we got through safe and we did what we wanted to do. But at the same
Yep,
time, it's frustrating because I'm like, man, if only I had been riding more leading up, then it would have been a different story. But coulda,
yep.
shoulda, woulda, I guess, and got through and yeah, we had fun. So
Yeah, you got the first round out of the way, and just I think the unfortunate part of that first round is that it's probably the furthest one away
yeah,
from you. So
yeah,
to be as prepared as you can be is always the if you could, that's it. But to be a little bit under prepared, have a little bit less bike time, then have to get in the car or the van or whatever and
yeah,
drive 2 days travel, all the rest of it, man, it's like all the cards are stacked against you for that for that first one. So
yeah,
it's not like I'm
yeah.
trying to make up excuses or nothing like that, but it's like it's hectic, man. Like it's such a drive, such a trip, and then to get out there and have to perform and do top level type of things. It's yeah, that's like coming off of that conversation we're just having about that mentality, man. It's a
Mm.
different switch that you have to tick to flick into that mode. And yeah, hats off to you for even rocking up with the previous injury going on, and then all the rest of it. Like it just must be just on another level. You everything else going on in your world, work, life, all the rest of it. So and then to come and do Australian Supercross, it's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, it is. Like we're either just short-term memory or we're really dumb because we just keep coming back for more every year. But nah, dude, it's stressful and getting organized and obviously doing it on a budget, like a serious budget, is very
Yeah,
stressful. But when you do get on the road and you start the journey and it all sort of starts coming together, it's I do enjoy that side of it. Like I do enjoy just making things happen and
yeah,
yeah, obviously, I would love more prep and like love more ride time, but it wasn't available. I couldn't do it. So, I just did the best with what I had. And yeah, we'll keep chugging along. But yeah, dude, I just enjoy it. Like, I'm not out there to make money. Like I'm not getting paid by any means. I'm
no,
putting every cent I have into it and, for the pure fact of just enjoying it and loving it. So yeah, it's kind of hard to explain because unless you've been there, you don't really fully understand that feeling. But Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun weekend. It was good to get there and get it out of the way too, though.
You're trying to justify the fact of explaining to someone, "I just spent almost $15,000 to make nothing," type of deal,
Yep.
and you're like, man,
Yep.
you're waiting for them to look back at you as if you're not crazy, type of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like, you could be, say technically I missed the main by one on Sunday. So technically I was 19th, right? And
Yeah,
you could say to someone that doesn't know you're the 19th best Australian Supercross rider in Australia, right?
yeah,
And they'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, there must be, a bit of money to do that." And you just go, "Nah, like pretty much we spend 20, 30 grand or 40, 50 grand a season and make $0 back." They'd probably look at you
yeah.
sideways and think, "What are you doing?" But it is pretty addicting. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to more money, that's for sure.
No, that's it. And that's, it's the passion and, the dedication that we sort of have always had towards this sport that we know it's, probably not the most rewarding financially for a lot of us that,
Yeah,
might not get the pro ride, might not get paid, especially in these years now, pay in races is almost, non-existent. You might get lucky at some local events and you might get lucky at the end of a national series or something like that, and you might put a couple
yeah,
hundred in your back pocket. But
yeah,
man, it's almost just the passion and the love of it that, guys like yourself and, Melross and that are still showing up and jumping on the
yeah,
gate and filling out these spots, which is, it's yeah, hats off to you guys still doing it.
yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, it is and like obviously, like I said, we don't make money from it, but I think the coolest thing is having companies support us, in whatever way they can, like jumping on board. Like obviously, like we mentioned earlier, I switched from Yamaha to Kawasaki this year, and even just Kawasaki alone have been like, it's insane the support that they have shown so far, and
Yeah,
and other companies jumping on board. Like, so I think that's pretty cool to see that there's still good companies that are still backing the privateers or the guys like myself doing it off their own back. And yes, we're not getting paid, but we are getting a lot of support to make this happen. So,
yeah.
like, I could be here for hours probably listening off people that have helped me, So, yeah, it is pretty cool to see that side of things. And this year's been different for me, putting more of my own program together with bike
Yeah.
support, gear support, all that. So that it's been really cool, and that's why I've enjoyed this year so much so far, because I have gotten to pick and choose a little bit with companies that I want to work with, and it's been awesome to see the people step up, and the support that I've been given so far has been really cool, and it is resonating with a lot of people. Like, people coming up on the weekends and saying that they like the program or like the bike or the gear or whatever. And that, I guess that's why we keep coming back and doing it, right?
Yeah, and it's a point of difference and a way to stand out. And I think yourself and I know we've been friends for a little while. I'm watching from the outside looking in, like you run a good program and you run that point of difference. You're not just that guy that is, hand out, gimme, gimme, gimme. You're always working, you're always hustling, you're always doing your best for your sponsors and your brands that do step up and support you. And it's,
Yeah,
you've got your coaching stuff on the go, and the
yeah,
kids that you're bringing along. It's cool to see, like as a someone that's been around for a long time, that's someone that's been racing, that's someone that has had a business in the sport, all that sort of stuff. Man, there's some people now that just have that mentality of I owe you or you owe me or whatever, but you're
yeah,
like, hey man, I'm just doing it and this is sick and
yeah,
I'm having fun riding my dirt bike. And it's like a
yeah,
lot of people go, fuck, that's cool. I like this guy,
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. I think too, like you said, the coaching has been. I think, like, to be deadly honest, if I wasn't coaching and having an influence on the younger generation of riders, I probably wouldn't be. I wouldn't have done it for as long as I have. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because the kids are, just this afternoon I was out at Murray Bridge coaching, some kids on 50s, and they just froth it, and it's cool to be able to still sort of be in the scene and race and coach and I guess be kind of relevant in the fact that I'm still in the scene, so I can pass on information, and those kids can come and watch the Supercross and see that their coach is, giving it a crack, and he's just
yeah.
doing it still working and still doing it. And,
Yeah.
it kind of, it bridges the gap a little bit from like kids just thinking that you have to either be a top professional athlete or there's nothing else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
for
bridges
sure.
that gap a little bit, whereas they
Yeah.
can kind of see that you don't have to be the best of the best, because I'm
Yeah.
far from the best of the best. I'm so far
You go
from
all
it.
right,
But,
man.
yeah, but I'm still out there having fun and giving it a crack. So I think that's probably what keeps me going is, you
Yeah.
know, leading by example for the kids that I coach and, whoever I come in contact with throughout is just
Yeah.
showing them that, you can do it and have fun, and it doesn't have to be, the be all and end all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, man. Like you've got the, little Johnny, he thinks, or little Johnny's dad, got to get out there every time, win, win, win. But there's also little Johnny, he's out there, he's top 5 or top 10 guy, occasionally gets on the podium. And, I think you in your program shows that guy that, hey, let's just get out there, have fun, let's get out, get on our dirt bikes and keep going, man. So,
Yeah, that just obviously we all started riding for the fun of it, right? No one started riding because they had to win. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I still enjoy riding my bike more than I did when I was back on the farm when I was 4 years old. So if I can
yeah.
keep that going and, not never lose that side of it, then I'll keep going for as long as my body will let me.
Man, I wish that was the case. I'm creeping up on 40 and yeah, every time I'm like, oh man, I could ride a dirt bike this weekend if I wanted to. I'm like, then Monday's gonna come around
Yeah.
and really kick me in the arse, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Nah, I mean, it's hard because I mean, right now, like I've turned 30, so
Yeah,
I'm in the vets class now technically, but my
nice.
my body is at a point where I'm probably the strongest I've ever been, right? Because
Yeah,
the
cool.
male body is peak performance is that sort
Yeah,
of late 20s, early 30s age. So I'm probably the strongest I've ever been, but I don't get to ride as much as I used to. So it's like wish I could ride more, but I'm strong and I've got a really good trainer who helps me. Basically,
yeah,
I
good.
go race, and then he gets me to a point of being able to race again to recover and ride and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, it's hard to balance and whatnot, but like I said, I love it, and I'll keep doing it for as long as I can.
No, that's it. I think that one leads into perfectly as well. Like after a week like you've just been through, like travel, race,
Yeah,
travel, home, and then
yeah,
like you said, back to schools. Back to work and back to schools again today. What's the
yeah,
next week like leading into the following round? So, and then before you have to get back in the car again and travel.
yeah,
But what does that
yeah.
look like for you in recovery? Training and throw in a 1 or 2 rides. What's that look like?
Yeah, so pretty much me and my partner, we made it back yesterday afternoon from the drive. Pulled the bikes out, started cleaning, prepping, getting bikes ready for, to ride this weekend because I had to
Yeah,
work today. I'm lucky enough that I do have a really good job at SKDA, which is a moto graphics company, which, know the industry. So they're kind of flexible with what I need to do.
never heard of
So
him.
was
Don't
at
know what you're
work.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Was at work today and then went to the track this afternoon to
Yeah,
get back to my regular coaching. I do a couple days a week coaching with the Groms here in SA.
yeah,
So and then yeah, I'm planning on hopefully getting on a bike tomorrow afternoon. So Friday afternoon, get
yeah,
on for a light spin just to get back into the swing of things, and then I'll spend 2 days riding on Saturday, Sunday. Um, Clean and prep the bike Sunday, back to work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then hit the road on Thursday. So somewhere in
back
there,
in.
I need to go and try and go try to get to the gym, see my trainer Michael,
Yep.
Elite Edge Fitness. He's always at me like, you got to come to the gym, you got to do this, and it's very hard to find time. So I'll try and get some days in the gym in between all that. But
Yep.
I guess when you say it like that, when you lay it out like that, it sounds pretty crazy and pretty hectic, but I guess I'm
Yep.
just so that's the norm. You know what I mean? So it kind of
And
just
here's
feels
me,
like
was it last week? And I'm like, hey, I know you're real busy, man, but do you want to jump on a computer for an
yeah,
hour and talk absolute
yeah,
shit at each other?
yeah. Sure, no worries. I got heaps of time. Let's go. Yeah. So no, it like I said, when you put it out like that, it sounds crazy and it is pretty
Yeah.
hectic, busy, but I've done it for that long and that's just the norm. And I actually
Yeah.
don't mind having that busy schedule. I guess keeps it. I'm not bored, that's for sure.
No. Yeah, keeps you going. That's it, eh?
Yep.
So yeah, round 3 coming up real quickly, and that's Sharks Stadium, and that's already for us in real time. That's next weekend. So it's a quick turnaround on the 1-2 double header, then
Yep.
3, and then a decent gap. So you know what we were just talking about there. Yeah, it's hectic for now, but then you'll get a little bit of rest time and a little bit more bike time before heading to Melbourne, isn't it, for
Yep.
the
Yeah.
fourth round?
Melbourne's
Yep.
fourth round.
Melbourne and Adelaide. So that looks a little bit better for you to get a little bit more bike time, a little bit more seat time, and get a little bit more comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. That month gap is really going to be basically my preseason.
Yeah.
So, like obviously with the limited time I had before rounds 1 and 2, that
Yep.
month is going to be really important for me. So, I
Yep.
think round 3 again for me is just going to be get through safe. Don't take stupid risk, and just ride to my abilities and get through safe, and then
Yep.
really build through that month. Really have a good month there where I can ride regularly and get to
Yep.
somewhat of a regular schedule. And then
Yep.
obviously Melbourne will be a big one, and then finish off in Adelaide. So,
And it's
um,
Supercross, like, who's to say, you get a good start next weekend, chips fall you away, and you put it in the main. That's sick.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's almost a win, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I think like quietly a little confident from the weekend is
yep,
my obviously my last LCQ. The last time I was on track was the best I rode all weekend. I
yep.
had a really good start. I had a couple really good starts, and I was 2 laps away from being fourth in the LCQ, which made it in sweet. So yeah, obviously it was a bummer I didn't make it, but quietly a little confident in the fact that I could do that with the time I had on a bike. So if I can, get a solid 3 days this weekend, and, that little bit more prep, and then, like I seem to get off the line pretty good on this Kawasaki. So,
No, nice. That's good.
yeah, put it up somewhere in the front and just try and ride and see what happens. If like you said, if I did make a main, that is a win for me. Like right now, like if I make a main, you'll probably see me celebrating like I've just won the main. So, yeah, so
Stops up
we'll,
on the triple up ramp, throws the
yeah.
goggles.
Yep, I'll be giving that thing a limiter bash for sure if I make it in. So, but yeah, we'll see what
Why
happens.
not?
And yeah,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, like if I could, someone said to me on the weekend, said, "Oh, you got to set your goals top 10, blah blah blah." I'm like, man, like for where I'm at right now, if I can make a main event, that's a win for me. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the mentality I got to take throughout the whole season. Is just if I make a main, then it's a successful season, and we can
Yeah.
slowly just
A
build
little
and,
bit.
and stay
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it. And then, like we were talking about before, it's just your preseason almost pretty much went up in went up in flames. So coming in, man, you're behind the 8 ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think if you can put it in the mains from here on out, like that's pretty sick, man. And in that class and for what you're doing, yeah, that's cool. I think, so
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think like as much as it sucked not making the main on Sunday, like being able to sit there and watch those main events actually was pretty good for me, to be honest.
yeah,
Like I got to see the riders that I kind of would be similar pace to, and see how they went about it, and
yeah,
then sort of put myself in their shoes, and then it's sort of actually, what it's like. If you miss a main, usually you're down and you're depressed and you're all miserable. But for me, like I kind of took it as watch the guys that I was close to,
yeah,
see what they're doing, and then for myself, believe that I can do that because I know that I've got the skills to do that. So, yeah, I think as weird as it sounds, actually watching that main and watching those guys gave me a little more confidence in what I can do. So,
yeah.
yeah, so not all bad, I guess. Try and take the positives from everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, silver lining in it for sure, and you can get back to home, get a couple of days in, and yeah, like I said, come back around 3. I think, yeah, I from watching it on TV, man, and I don't see why not. Like, you should be
Mm.
sweet, and there's no real, there could be a wild card thrown in there, but there's no one else
Yeah.
really coming in. That was my next question. We're not really missing anyone, really. That's it for
Nah,
the series, like,
I think like obviously Zach Watson has busted his arm, but
yeah,
so he won't be there. Obviously he wasn't there on Sunday. He did that on Saturday. I think the only
yeah.
one who's a bit of a question mark is Nato Crawford.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
I haven't heard. He obviously missed rounds 1 and 2.
yeah,
I've heard he's close to riding
yeah,
or back on a bike. So that could be the only one. But other than that, I
yeah.
think it's pretty much same field. So yeah, you know, and it is Supercross, dude. Like, who knows what can happen? So,
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
be there, and yeah, we'll give it another crack.
Yeah, and top end of the field wise, what are you thinking for the next few rounds? You reckon that's just the same top
Yeah,
5-ish
yeah.
guys like that?
I think the third, fourth, fifth spots will change around quite a lot. I don't think 1 and 2 will be much different. I think obviously Dino is a clear favourite. You saw how the way he came from the back of the pack
Yeah,
and passed everyone, whatnot. So I think the top one, top two is pretty set. Apart from that, after that, it's pretty much really anyone's game in that, you know, on the factory riders list or even not. You know, Hayden Melrose put himself up there, and
yeah,
kind of the same with the 250 class. 250 class is a little more all over the shop. It wasn't such a big gap. Like, obviously Lux got the wins, but that Larwood got a moto win, and you know,
yeah.
so that's a
It's a
little
little bit
more
more
up in.
open there, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a little more open for sure. So
yeah,
that'll be exciting. But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
yeah. Oh, that's it, man. Oh, that's pretty much it. That was a cool little wrap up, I think. It's our first one. And yeah, it might have come with a few little struggles that no one else can see. We had a bit of fun on the back end of it, sort of thing. But
Technical
I think we're
difficulties.
going to keep these ones going and we're going to try and catch up, hopefully, after each round and maybe in between and discuss moto and stuff like that. I think it's, you know, a guy like yourself and myself, we do like to chat a little bit about this sport and
Yep.
we're in it and we do enjoy it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just to end it on that, any plugs or anything like that? Like you said, you got the coaching. Is that open to guys down there in South Australia? Or
Yeah, dude. I coach from kids from fourth. Actually, my youngest was like 3 or 4 years
yeah,
old
wow.
to
Yeah,
guys who are older than me. I coach everyone. Whenever kind of try and do a couple days a week here in South Australia.
yeah,
And yeah, so that's sort of my part-time job, and then obviously
yeah.
work for SKDA as well after that. So yeah, keep it pretty busy. But yeah, there's a whole list of people that obviously I want to thank as well. From Kawasaki Australia, obviously helping out massively this year. For the racing, for the coaching, for all that.
Yeah,
Fist and Fourth have been huge. SKDA, Dirt Bike Services, Scotty got my suspension dialed. It's probably the best I've felt on a bike in a long time, so that's cool.
nice.
Um, and there's a whole list, like I said, my trainer, Elite Edge Fitness. I'm probably going to forget people, you
It
know, but
happens.
there's so many, dude, like
I think
Maxima,
the bumper,
ODI,
if this works out how I want and we can do
dude.
it, we'll chuck all the links and stuff in down the
Oh
below
man,
and they can
there's a
do all
lot of
that sort of
people.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll try and get all that in there. But yeah, that was my main sort of thing as well. Like a lot of people probably, you know, didn't know. And if, you know, hopefully this sort of carries on a little bit and people do tune in and listen, is that, you know, the coaching side of stuff and the Groms and that down there in South Australia, if they are looking for a good coach, I think you're one of the guys down there that's you know, I know Medis used to do it and all that sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
a guy like yourself, you know, as a father of as a couple of kids now, and if there's anyone that I'm taking it to, it's someone that looks like a fun haver. We're
Yeah.
coming there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, look, like the coaching's sick. I love it. That sort of keeps the enjoyment in the sport for me. Seeing
Yeah,
kids being stoked on riding and learning and progressing. And I think that's, if anything, probably the biggest thing I can take away from motorbikes is having an
yeah,
influence on kids, you know, in their, whether they choose to race or not, just in life in general, is being a positive role model, and hopefully giving kids, you know, a bit of a role models or whatever to look up to, or just to hang out with or whatever. I'm always
yeah.
always here to help and chat to anyone, and yeah, I love it, man.
No, that's it. That's the way to go about it, man. All right, we'll pretty much finish it up there. We'll try and catch up possibly next week if we can. If not,
Yep.
we'll try and make it happen.
Yeah,
But
let's do it.
we'll do these after each round. We're going to catch up with Elijah, see how his weekend went, and talk about the rounds as well. So, yeah, stay tuned for the next one, guys. If you liked what we've done here, chuck a comment below, like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, we get all this correct and we put it all up on YouTube. So, it's our first one. We'll share it on all the platforms. But yeah, other than that, thanks for tuning in and yeah, catch you in the next one.